Have you ever noticed that the initial rush of buying something you didn't actually need is almost instantly replaced by a cold, heavy sense of dread? You click Pay Now on a gadget or a piece of clothing that has no real place in your life, and suddenly the excitement vanishes. It is replaced by a physical weight in your chest, a nagging feeling that you have done something wrong. This is not just about the money leaving your bank account. In fact, you could have millions in the bank and still feel this exact same sting of regret. This is because your brain is reacting to that unnecessary object as if it were a literal threat to your life. We are going to uncover why your biology views a useless purchase as a deadly anchor, and how your prehistoric survival instincts are trying to save you from the weight of modern excess. Imagine you are a nomadic hunter-gatherer 50,000 years ago. In your world, every single item you own must be carried on your back. If you pick up a decorative stone or a heavy tool that has no practical use, you are making a choice that could end your life. In the wild, extra weight equals exhaustion. It means you are slower when running from a predator and less agile when crossing a mountain pass. Our ancestors survived because they were masters of calculating the cost of weight. When you bring something into your life today that serves no purpose, that ancient alarm system in your brain starts screaming. It doesn't see a trendy accessory or a redundant tech toy. It sees a useless weight that is pinning you down to the earth, making you vulnerable. This specific guilt is what we can call the nomad's survival tax. It is the friction between our modern ability to accumulate and our ancient need to remain light. When you buy something truly useful, like a tool that solves a problem or food that provides energy, your brain stays calm. But the moment you acquire something non-essential, your amygdala, the primitive part of your brain responsible for fear, triggers an alert. It interprets the accumulation of unneeded items as a loss of mobility. In the eyes of your evolution, a person who carries what they do not need is a person who is prepared to fail. This is why the guilt feels less like a financial mistake and more like a deep moral failure. It is your biology telling you that you have compromised your ability to survive. In our current digital age, this instinct has become a source of constant internal conflict. We are the first generation of humans who can summon physical objects to our doorstep with a thumbprint, yet we still carry the brain of a traveler who owns nothing but a spear and a water skin. When our living spaces become filled with things we don't use, we experience a form of cognitive dissonance. Technically, your apartment is safe and your closet is large, but your subconscious feels claustrophobic. It scans the room and sees a graveyard of bad decisions, each one a physical anchor that limits your freedom. This is why clutter feels so stressful. It is not an aesthetic problem. It is a survival problem. Your brain thinks you are trapped in a thicket of your own making, unable to move if the tribe needs to migrate. The modern world is designed to exploit the moment of the hunt, the dopamine spike we get when we find something new. But it completely ignores the survival crash that follows a useless acquisition. Retailers want you to focus on the gain, but your DNA is focused on the drain. This is why the cycle of buying to feel better always fails when the item has no utility. You are essentially trying to cure stress by adding more weight to your pack. It is like trying to swim to safety by grabbing onto more gold bars. The more you add, the faster you sink, and the louder the ancient alarm becomes. So, how do we handle this prehistoric panic in a world that never stops selling? The answer is not to stop buying altogether, but to change the criteria of the hunt. You can start by implementing the nomad test. Before you finish a purchase for something non-essential, ask yourself, if I had to leave my home forever in 10 minutes, would I take this with me? If the answer is a clear no, then your brain is already identifying that item as a burden. By acknowledging this early, you prevent the survival alarm from ever going off. For those who find it hard to break the habit, try the concept of 1 in, 2 out. If you feel the urge to bring something new and non-essential into your space, you must remove 2 other items that no longer serve you. This signals to your brain that you are maintaining your lean status. It reassures your survival instincts that you are not becoming weighed down or trapped. You are essentially telling your ancient self that you are still mobile, still fast, and still in control of your environment. I understand. You need about 4,000 more characters starting after the 1 in, 2 out strategy to reach the required length. I will continue the narrative, focusing on the psychological restructuring, real-world examples, and the deeper philosophy of modern survival without using any restricted words or preachy tones. Here is the continuation of your script. Another powerful way to settle this ancient unrest is to recognize the difference between a tool and a trophy. In the eyes of your evolution, a tool is an extension of your body. It increases your reach, your strength, or your ability to process information. When you buy a high-quality tool that you actually use, your brain feels a sense of expansion. But a trophy, something bought only for status or out of a fleeting impulse, is seen by your subconscious as a dead weight. To truly master your environment, you must learn to audit your surroundings through the lens of utility. Look around your room right now. Every object you see is either giving you energy or taking it away. There is no neutral ground. The items you don't use are silently taxing your cognitive bandwidth, constantly reminding your survival brain that you are carrying unnecessary baggage. We often try to solve the anxiety of a cluttered life by buying organization products, more boxes, more shelves, more systems to hide the things we don't need. But this is a trap. To your internal nomad, an organized pile of useless items is still a pile of useless items. It doesn't matter how neatly the anchors are stacked, they still keep the ship from moving. The real relief comes not from better storage, but from the act of subtraction. There is a profound biological peace that comes with letting go. Each time you remove a non-essential item from your life, you are essentially telling your amygdala that the path is clear and you are no longer trapped. You might notice that after a deep decluttering session, you sleep better or think more clearly. This isn't a coincidence. It is the sound of your survival alarm finally turning off. Think about the way we travel. Most people feel a strange sense of freedom when they are living out of a suitcase for a week. Even though you have less stuff than you do at home, you often feel lighter and more adventurous. This is because, for that 1 week, your physical reality matches your evolutionary design. You are mobile. You have exactly what you need and nothing more. The guilt of owning vanishes because every item in that suitcase has been vetted for its survival value. The challenge of modern life is to bring that suitcase clarity into our permanent homes. We don't need to live in empty white rooms, but we do need to ensure that our environment serves our movement rather than hindering it. If you find yourself stuck in a cycle of impulsive buying, consider the digital nomad perspective. We are moving toward a world where the most valuable assets are no longer physical. Knowledge, connections, and experiences are the ultimate weightless goods. When you shift your identity from a consumer to a creator or an explorer, your relationship with physical objects changes. You start to see a new gadget not as a prize, but as a commitment of your space and time. You begin to value the empty space on your desk more than a new ornament, because that space represents the potential for new action. Empty space is not nothing. It is the room required for your next move. For those who struggle with the emotional attachment to things they don't need, try the photography method. Often, we keep an object because we are afraid of losing the memory associated with it. By taking a high-quality photo of the item and then letting the physical object go, you preserve the data while removing the weight. Your brain is satisfied because the information is saved, but your environment is freed from the physical burden. This is a perfect bridge between our ancient need to keep track of resources and our modern reality of limited space. As we look toward the future, the ability to curate our lives will be more important than the ability to accumulate. We are entering an era of extreme abundance, where the danger is no longer not having enough, but having too much to handle. The people who will thrive are those who can maintain their psychological and physical agility. They are the ones who treat their attention and their space as sacred resources. By listening to that small spark of guilt after a useless purchase, you are actually receiving a gift from your ancestors. It is a reminder that you were meant for more than just collecting dust. You were meant to move, to learn, and to grow. In the final analysis, the things you own should be the wind in your sails, not the weight in your hold. When you align your modern choices with your ancient biology, the friction of life begins to disappear. You stop fighting yourself. You move through the world with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly what they carry and why they carry it. You find that you don't need 1,000 things to feel secure. You only need the right things and the freedom to walk away from the rest. This is the true meaning of modern survival. It is the art of being at home anywhere, because you carry your most important assets within yourself. Start today. Look at the one thing in your room that you know you don't need. Let it go. Feel that small, ancient weight lift off your shoulders. That is the feeling of your true self returning to the path.